You spend decades meticulously sorting your plastics and driving electric vehicles to minimize your environmental impact. Yet the default method for handling bodies at the end of life involves pumping them with carcinogens and encasing them in tons of reinforced concrete. When we look at the data, this final act often leaves a permanent footprint that contradicts a lifetime of sustainable choices. For over a century, the end-of-life industry has relied on a system explicitly designed to halt nature. Embalming fluids are heavily concentrated with formaldehyde, a known carcinogen, used to cross-link proteins so that bacteria cannot perform their natural role in the ecosystem. This diagram shows the layers of materials required to keep that body from touching the earth. The casket is typically heavy-gauge steel or varnished wood, which is then sealed inside a massive subterranean vault made of reinforced concrete. Between the hardware, the burial plot, and the vault, the average cost to the family routinely reaches $10,000 to $15,000. Because these materials are designed to last, the modern cemetery effectively functions as a subterranean landfill. We are dedicating acres of arable land to permanently house thousands of tons of concrete and steel for no ecological gain. To solve the land use issue, many choose cremation, assuming it is the greener alternative. But to reduce a human body to ash, an industrial furnace must be heated to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit and maintained for up to 3 hours. Looking at this side-by-side visualization, we can see that cremation simply trades ground pollution for atmospheric pollution. A single cremation requires enough natural gas to drive a car halfway across the United States, releasing CO2 and vaporized heavy metals directly into the air. Natural organic reduction, or human composting, represents a shift in this logic. It offers a way to bypass both the concrete sprawl of traditional burial and the fossil fuel dependency of cremation. Because it relies on biological processes rather than industrial furnaces or heavy vaults, it is also a viable economic middle ground. With a price tag between $3,000 and $7,000, it provides a sustainable option that is significantly more accessible than the $10,000 cemetery plot. By removing the need for fire and toxic chemicals, the death industry can move away from a model of environmental defiance and toward a process that works in tandem with the earth. The rapid 60-day transformation of the body does not rely on synthetic enzymes or harsh industrial acids. Instead, it takes place inside a specialized climate-controlled vessel designed to optimize a specific biological ecosystem. The human body is naturally teeming with microbes. The process simply harnesses the power of these bacteria, providing them with the exact nutritional scaffolding they need to thrive and reproduce. The biological recipe starts with a foundational bed of wood chips. These provide a massive, slow-burning source of carbon, which microbes use as their primary source of energy for metabolic activity. To fuel growth, the facility adds alfalfa. It is incredibly rich in nitrogen, acting like a protein shake for the bacteria and helping to establish the 30-to-1 carbon-to-nitrogen ratio necessary for decomposition to accelerate. Finally, straw is layered in to provide structural integrity. This prevents the organic material from compressing too densely, ensuring that oxygen can flow evenly through the vessel to sustain the bacterial population. By balancing these three elements, the process puts nature's standard timeline on fast forward, completing in weeks what would typically take years in the wild. As trillions of thermophilic or heat-loving bacteria begin to consume this carbon and nitrogen, their collective metabolic activity generates an immense amount of energy. Without any external heat being applied to the vessel, the core of the biological mass naturally spikes to between 130 and 160 degrees Fahrenheit. This temperature rise is driven purely by the heat of the microbes themselves. This graph shows why that heat is so critical. Sustaining temperatures above 130 degrees effectively pasteurizes the material, destroying harmful pathogens, viruses, and bacteria that might have been present in the body. Once the biological phase is complete, the soil is removed and screened. Any inorganic materials that the bacteria could not consume, like titanium hip replacements or dental fillings, are separated out and sent to specialized recycling facilities. Relying on this natural metabolic heat ensures the final product is clean, safe, and biologically stable, meeting or exceeding the safety standards for commercial garden compost. This illustration shows the scale of the final output. The synthesis of the body and plant materials yields roughly 1 cubic yard of nutrient-dense soil, enough to fill the entire bed of a standard pickup truck. While the science is efficient, the shift away from a traditional grave can be jarring. Without a headstone or a casket, families often have to rethink how they physically navigate their grief and find closure. It helps to view the logistical disposition of the body and the emotional commemoration of the life as two separate events. One is a biological requirement, the other is a social and spiritual one. Most facilities encourage families to maintain tactile rituals. During laying-in ceremonies, loved ones can physically participate by placing organic mementos, like letters written on paper or favorite flowers, into the vessel before the biological process begins. Familiar artifacts like beautifully printed memorial programs and structured services continue to serve as emotional anchors. They bridge the gap between the modern science of the body and the ancient human need to share stories. Embracing a sustainable biological process does not mean erasing the rituals of mourning. It simply means the physical body is undergoing a transformation, while the family honors the memory. Because of the large volume of soil produced, most families choose to keep only a small portion for a private garden or a memorial tree. The remainder is typically donated to established conservation land trusts. The soil is used to heal the planet on a macro scale, replenishing clear-cut forests, stabilizing wetlands, and actively nourishing ancient root systems. This represents a departure from the static legacy of a cemetery. Instead of the name carved into a block of weathering granite, the individual becomes the literal foundation for a living, breathing ecosystem. Human composting suggests that the ultimate act of grace is not resisting the natural world, but finally allowing ourselves to return to it. We move from a model of isolation to one of integration, providing the very life that feeds the earth that sustained us.